The mile high. It's your high priestess, the phoenix, your spiritual healer, teacher, shaman, seer, oracle, lightworker, starseed, earth angel, mystic, medium, psychic, witch, yogi, guru, and messenger of God. With another message. You're like, again? Yeah, that's what happens when the energy's flowing. A lot can come through. We cleared the chakras. Did you clear your chakras? Are you filled with divine inspiration and messages for the public? Oh, well, we should work on that. Anyways, I have another message for you. Interesting as enough is, your outside world, meaning the lame life that you live, is filled with all of these adventures and lessons to learn that you didn't learn in your past lives. And it's pretty lame because we have lame lives. Like before we used to learn lessons with swords and, unicorns and shit. And now we just, we learn lessons just going to Walmart and shit. It's bullshit. It's pretty lame. But anyways, going back to it, I learned a very intriguing lesson in the last ride or so. And I wanted to teach you the lesson that I learned so you can apply it to your life. All right, what's the lesson that I learned? Let me tell you what's been going on. Ew, they just got pulled over. That's what's going on. Sucks to be you. Oh, he don't look like he's going to do so well in this situation. Anyways, karma got you, dude. Was it for this offense or for something else that they got you for? Anyways, going back to it. So, the last couple days, I made an agreement with one of my neighbors that I would help them. I told you in the earlier video that I was going to give some people some rides. Okay? So the agreement is I've been giving her a ride to work, but I've also been giving her children a ride to school. Okay? Now, interesting enough, it's like, okay, you can give other people's children a ride to school, but not your own, is the condemnation that came over me once I started doing this. So, rewind back to last week when, since beginning, day one, Homegirl's been trying to help me get my kids into school. And she again tried at Christmas, and she's like, you could put them in right here. You can use the address. You could drive out here. If you can't get to them, they can come and, do this, that, and the other, right? I already said I was not going to put them online because that was not fair to do to them, to force them into, an individual learning session all by themselves for a whole grade that they've missed more of it. You know what I mean? It's not fair to me or them. I'm not that kind of educator. And, they need an actual teacher to teach them 7th and 8th grade is how it works, right? So that's what I had said. Come on, you piece of shit. I hate being a nice guy. I could just zoom past you piece of shit. Anyway, so that was the thing. So, our life, I couldn't put them into school because one, we're not stable. We're moving from here to there to there to here to here to there, right? So I never made that commitment. So then Homegirl asked me last week again, hey, what's going on with the school? They're coming back from, winter break. You want to put them in? I was like, let me find out if the hotel's going to be extended. And if it's going to be extended, then I'll go ahead and go through with it. Well, then I found out the hotel was going to get extended. So then I went to go get the documents, right? I'm like, all right, I got to put them into school because, why not? I ran out of excuses at that point. Okay. So then I started driving these teenagers to school. Now, today she asked me to drive another one, which is her grandchild. They go to a different area. Goes to a different area. Now, this is her life, not mine. I'm just been part of it for a couple of days here, helping her with her life. This could be Denver. Her kids have to go to school in Glendale. Her grandchild has to go to school in Central or in Northfield. Every morning of her life, she has to 5 days out of the week, she's got to figure out how to get everyone to where they got to go to maintain, this lifestyle, to keep everything afloat, right? And it's like, obviously she's doing it, I'm here helping her. She's, otherwise she pays for Lyfts and Ubers all the time to get everyone around. That's a lot. Number one, that's a lot. But so I'm doing this and I'm being stuck in traffic during morning hours. And that's the thing, is like, if you could do it for other kids, you could do it for yourself. But it's like, why would I do this to myself? Right? So my offer is to put my kids out in school in Arvada, which is over by the mountain ridge. Okay, when I'm not in a hotel in downtown, I live over by the airport, which is 45 minutes away 45 minutes away. I am, in theory, considering putting myself in a contract for 5 days a week to drive myself during rush hour traffic in the morning and afternoon, 45 minutes away, just so my kids can be part of the last 3 months of school. Now, it is the last 3 months. Now, this is where I want you guys to take this into consideration. Meaning, last year's gone. And everything that they were supposed to gain from last year is now gone. But we can try to cram it in a couple of months and make up for all of last year in just a couple of months of this year. Now, what does that mean? That means that they didn't keep up with the Kardashians. They didn't keep up with their peers. That the kids of their age, they didn't keep up with the information and experiences that they got, that most kids get between 7th and 8th grade. They were denied that because of the experiences we were having, which is education. They were denied education for that year, right? For this year. How much? About 7 months now. Now, in those 7 months, even though they were denied our history education, which would have been math, science, literature, you know what I mean, social studies, you know, the electives and shit like that, if they went to a good school. They missed that kind of learning. But did they not get world life experience in those 7 months? More life experience in those 7 months than any of the kids got in those books. Will the kids... the information that the kids of their age that they got from those books, will they apply that in their future? Yes, maybe. Who knows what they learned in 7th and 8th grade, right? The question is, with what my kids learned in the last 7 months as we've traveled through these 5-6 states and we've gone from, you know what I mean? We've gone from stability to homelessness and went to pure humility. Can they use those experiences in the future too? Yes. Now here's the difference. Can they still put all that information, that schooling, that, you know, that learning, that education, can they put that education still in them? Yes. Will other kids have to learn what my kids learned? Will they even have an opportunity to learn or experience what my kids experienced? Perhaps by the hand of God. But will they learn such humility? Will they learn what it takes? Will they learn what my kids learned in the last year? Who knows? But how different would their lives be if they had that kind of experience, knowledge, and wisdom, that kind of higher learning from life experience, right? So let's go back to schooling. Schooling is all, and that could be religion. You're getting preparation for life experiences. That's what schooling is. We're preparing you. We're giving you the knowledge and wisdom that you're going to need to go out and experience life and have the tools that you need to experience it. So I denied my kids those tools, the 7th and 8th grade tools, because we were having life experiences. Okay, so what does that mean? Ultimately, they've got to repeat the grades. They've got to do it again. Now, if I put them in right now, all schools across the board have this no child left behind, meaning they can force them into the next grades and we can act like none of this happened. We really can, and they just missed some education. I can do it that way. I can do it the legal way. You know what I mean? Or I can face the fact that they missed that education and make them stay in that field one more year. What happens there? What do they lose? Well, the Kardashians, the kids of their age, have now excelled past them. According to, you know what I mean, the structure of these kids are smarter than my kids now. These kids have, you know what I mean? These kids will excel on to the next grade while my kids have to Billy Madison it and learn how to do this grade that they already learned. What's the difference? One day in life, those kids will grow up and be adults and they'll have the same situation. They're going to have to go into life and learn how to experience what my kids experienced with only those tools from school. Right? Right. Now let's go back to your life. What happened last year? Did you keep up with the Kardashians? Did you get everything that everybody else got out of last year? Did you get a relationship? Did you get did you get your decrees, your marriage decree, your bachelor's degree? Did you get all of this stuff? Did you get that certification from Hierarchy saying that you were successful last year, that you learned what everyone else learned and you achieved what everyone else achieved? Or did you take that that year that everyone else was moving in one direction and you had life experiences that taught you something else? And now you're not caught up with everybody else, but you have some other learnings and teachings inside of you that other people don't have. Okay, so now it's January. What are you going to do? Are you going to cram it all in before spring break, before summer? Are you going to try to make up for all of last year? Because you ain't got an album, you ain't got a marriage, you ain't got a boo. I ain't got nobody for Valentine's Day. I ain't got a new job. I didn't do shit with my life last year. So now I'm going to try to make it all better in just a couple months. I'm going to make this year my year. I'm going to work harder than I ever did in all of last year to make up, because I didn't feel like I had a good, I got enough out of last year. Some of you are. And I was bitching at, a lot of you about that. Don't do that. Let it go. Last year's over. Take the experiences. Take the wisdom. Take the knowledge. Take it in. You had a life last year. You just didn't have everybody else's life. And they're no better off. You can't say that they had a better life because they didn't experience what you experienced. They did the basic fucking ride of life that everyone goes through. They went to work all year. They didn't have they didn't face no trials, no tribulations. They didn't face no realities, no ego deaths. They didn't make no changes. They didn't make no sacrifices. They didn't take no L's. So they didn't experience shit. All they did was study how to keep going. How to keep going. Not to go in a different direction, just how to keep going. And that's where it is right now. So honestly, so yesterday morning, that was the whole plan. But God made me sick and I couldn't do it. The whole plan was I was going to go yesterday morning after I dropped off these kids and go sign my kids up for school. This morning, I felt very different about it as she asked me to take different kids and go a different direction, right? And it's like, are you going to do this for the next 3 months? Are you going to be able to, will you have gas money? What happens if you promise your kids school and then for some reason you can't get them to school? Do you know what I mean? What happens if they make friends and you got to rip them out of their friends again? What happens if you can't, stand up to this contract just because you want to make up for last year? You want it all to be better in this year. If I put you in right now, then it never happened. No, it happened. And we're going to clean it up, you know what I mean? And it's going to be my fault, but I'm going to explain this. And this is the truth. And our truth is going to be understood. And it's like, they don't make exceptions. They don't. You got to repeat the grade. But your GT, you learn faster than others. You retain, information faster than others. You learn in a different way. You're going to be fine. You know what I mean? What you learned this year is invaluable to what they stood there studying in their books. And that goes back to religion. What my children learned about faith and God and hope and understanding and compassion and love and respect and forgiveness about ourselves, the world, and God, you're not going to learn in a book. You'll study it your whole life and never learned it. And they learned it from the Bible Belt to Sin City, bro. They learned how to have faith. They learned how to have hope. Not because of I drugged them to church 7 days a week. No, because I brought church to them, bro. We walked in it. We walked in that shit. And they, you know what I mean? And that's it. Is that they didn't have to study Christianity. They're Christians. And not because they named him one, because they are. And she says she don't believe in God, but she believes in a higher power. You know what I mean? She believes in, she has optimism. She's an optimist prime. Sagittarius. In the sense of, that's how they are. They have trust. They have faith. They don't learn that shit in school. You don't learn that in school. You don't learn that in church. You don't learn that in the, you know what I mean? You learn those things. You become wise by experience. I heard that this morning. It's like you've always been wise beyond your years. Because I'm not the skin isn't it. It's how much I've experienced in the years that I've experienced this life. And that's what it says. Many, high vibrational souls will come here and experience multiple life evolutions. That's it. I cram as many learnings and experiences and learn how much, how far can I push this day into my experiences. And that's what we're here to do. And again, I'm just doing what I said I was going to do, which is my job, just driving some people around. But in driving, which is my meditation, my form of meditation, I was able to see a bigger picture of what God's doing the flow, what that means, but what it looks like on the outside. On the outside, I look like a badass mother. Like, bitch, you ain't put your kids in school in 7 months? No. But I can prove that I tried for the first 4. And that I did everything I could to get them in, to make them feel like everybody else. But we weren't in a place to be like everyone else, and I had to accept that. I'm not her. I can't afford this, dude. I can't afford gas me every day to do that. You know what I mean? Not to mention, when we're not in a hotel, I'm paying for showers. How are they going to shower before school when the rec center doesn't open till 9 a.m.? Do you know what I mean? We have stuff. We have limitations that God has put around us so that we can learn different ways of living. Doesn't mean we don't live. Doesn't mean my kids aren't smart. Doesn't mean that you guys are better than us. It means that this year we had to learn a different way to live than the way we used to live. And we had to take some L's. We didn't get to be part of the world. We had to find out a way to live in this world apart from it and be humiliated, which is humbled along the way. Where's the humiliation come from? You guys, you make us feel humiliated about trusting God and walking in such ways. We're okay until you look at us and fucking sticks and stone us about what we're doing in faith and trust and hope. You know what I mean? And that's where I was like, my kids even, it's like, Mom, we are homeless. They've already accepted it. I'm over here not accepting it. You know what I mean? Shit like that. Like, these kids are, they're fucking earth angels, but because they've been developed into it. They weren't, they were born as ghetto kids, from a domestic violence, just like me, just like my other kids. But, our life, the experiences that we've taken developed them into different people than what they were destined to be, just based on the nature and atmosphere they were born into. I took them out of that, that way of life, and we were forced to learn a new way of life with reverence and respect for those that live this way. Never forgetting the way of life we used to have, but understanding there's lots of ways to live this life. And there's not one way, just to do it Jesus's way. You know what I mean? With love and compassion and understanding to what God is doing. He's got a plan. It doesn't look so good. It doesn't feel so good. People are looking at me. They're judging me. Yeah, but we're on that Christ walk. So I just wanted to point that out. It's like, so yesterday morning I sent the message. I was like, I'm so sick. I can't take the kids. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't sign them up for school yesterday, and I couldn't. So then today, with the sun on my face and I'm full of energy, it's like, do you still feel like you did yesterday? Do you still feel guilted into doing something that you knew was wrong to do? Do you still feel like you got to keep up with, Taz and her kids? You got to keep up with everyone else? You know what I mean? Or can you accept the loss and just accept that, this year will be okay? And yet last year, just because you didn't have everything to show for it, it was a great year. And that's real truth, you guys. Judge me if you want, but you're not the judge. Only God can judge me, and only God can guide me, and only God seems to understand me. But I'm trying to bring understanding to you about how God works this shit with us, what he's doing to us. You know what I mean? Ultimately is how that, looks. So I just wanted to point that out. Is, I know a lot of you are not happy that you didn't, thinking about Mike and shit and everybody else that took an L last year. You won. You just don't have a plaque to show it. And that's, Lewis, it's like, how much more did you learn in a year of losing instead of the lifetime of winning? You got humbled, but you learned so much more about yourself, the sport, the car, everything by losing. You spent your whole life winning and didn't know that much about it until you started losing. And that's what I mean, is once you start losing, you really get that, that's what I told Russ last night. We had a lot of hearts. But I told him, I was like, what's the worst, what are people going to think if you get better, Russ? What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You guys always think about what will people think. What will they think if you get better? It's like, you're not going to get better unless you do the work. And that's what I told him. I was like, I don't fail. And you won't either if you don't give up. But you're never going to win unless you try. Meaning, start doing it and never give up. And you'll never fail at this. You know what I mean? But you're going to feel loss. You're going to feel pain. You're going to feel rejection. You're going to feel all those feelings you didn't want to feel before. Because they're real human feelings, part of a real human experience that we go through. Throughout the hours of the day, the days of the week, the weeks of the year, and the months of the year. It's a ride. an experience. You take the good with the not so good, which is you deem bad, and you ride this ride. And it's in those, that's the alchemical process, in those uncomfortable places where you're being pushed to your limits, that you realize you're limitless and you can push further and further than you ever thought. Not your mind and your body, but your spirit has it in there to push you and keep pushing you, right? Are you being pushed by your thoughts of pride, success, competition, fear, regret, shame, or persecution? Or are you being driven by your heart, which is freedom? This is going to feel really good for me if I just do this. So Russ shared yesterday, and I didn't listen to it till this morning. I'm like, ugh. He had shared, he told everyone to go check out his Discord. And on his Discord, he made an announcement, but not the typical announcement, so, over-explaining himself. But he told everyone, I'm not going on tour this year. In order for me to have done it, I would have put myself in a box and had to finish an album by February, and it's not happening. So I didn't do it. Don't expect me to come on tour this year because I'm working on my music. And for as long as it takes, I'm sitting down and I'm putting up a boundary and I'm working on me. I told him I'm proud of you. At that time, though, he had to disappoint his fans. He had to disappoint people to, to make himself feel good. He had to, And that was something that Russ doesn't like to do. He doesn't like to disappoint people. And if he does, he has to go above and beyond to explain himself. And then he still feels like a piece of shit because he couldn't do what he said he would do or what you expect him to do. And he came out and said, I'm not doing it. This is why. I would have had to do all of this work, and I'm not prepared to do all that work. So there's no tour. Amen. You did what you couldn't do last year. You did what you couldn't do last year, which was cancel the tour. This year, he's stronger. I'm not going to do it this year. And that's what it is. It's like little by little. I'm not going to do everything. I'm not going to follow the protocol. I'm not going to, little pieces like that. He had to be brave. This isn't going to be good. They're going to backlash. My DMs are about to be flushed. They're going to be pissed. I'm going to lose some followers because I won't do what the fuck they told me to do, what they want me to do. He was willing to accept it this time. Whereas before, he couldn't accept that kind of rejection. That kind of backlash. He couldn't accept the loss of, telling people no. But today, yesterday he was stronger. I'm proud of you. And that's where it is. It's like when you start standing up for yourself, you start losing. And you really do. You have to take some L's. You know what I mean? Him not going on tour is not making money. You know what I mean? But at the same time, him taking that time to make better music can make better money. And if it doesn't even make money, it gives him a chance to just explore. In his creativity, you're going to pour out enough shit, and then you'll pour out some good shit. Get it all out of there. Here comes fucking Marshall. My book of rhymes. You got to get it all out until you can get to the good stuff. And you're just sitting there, Yeah, that's just kind of it. It's like you're probably going to make, like Mike, about 35 fucking songs before you find a good one in there. Not that they weren't all good, they were all you, and they were all from places inside of you. But what place do you want people to resonate with you? What part of you do you want them to resonate? Before, he'd run a poll. Which part of me do you want? I'll give you only the parts you like. And he would only release the top songs. What people like the most. That's what part you get. What you like the most. I'll give you whatever you like. Now he'll go through it and he'll find the parts of him he doesn't like, and all of these parts. And maybe he'll decide what part he wants to share with you, rather than him deciding, what part you think is best of him. Good stuff. You know what I mean? And that's it. It's like, going back to it, him and all of them worked their ass off last year. Some of them have something to show for it. Some of them don't in the physical. But we all have wisdom from our experiences. We all lived a life last year. A very intriguing life. Some of us didn't make no money off of it. We didn't make no statues. We didn't get no, awards for the life we lived. But we did live a life, and we did learn, and we loved, and we laughed, and we cried, and we won, and we lost. And we'll do it again this year. But we don't got to keep up with nobody, bro. And nobody should be trying to keep up with us. Because all we're trying to do is keep us up. We're trying to keep up with us. That's what we do, and that's what I'm going to do in a little bit, is we're going to pull the cards and check in on us. I don't give a shit what you're doing, bro. Can't keep up with you. I don't even fucking care. cares what the fuck you're doing? I'm trying to figure out what to do with my life. Like, what am I doing with my shit today? And that goes back to, I was too busy worrying about what the fuck I'm doing to be worrying about what the fuck you're doing. Like, I don't even know how to handle my own life. Or the fuck am I looking at yours like you got some shit figured out? Bitch, we don't know. Let God figure this shit out. He'll tell us when to eat, when to shit, when to sleep, when to work, when to what. God, tell me. If you don't hear him, then you wait till you do. That's it. If he's not home, then you stay home. Keep the doors closed. Don't answer the phone. Don't tell nobody you're home alone. They're gonna know. That's that 90s shit. We didn't have babysitters, bro. We had to watch ourselves. Seriously. Don't answer the phone. Close the doors. Don't let anyone know you're here. There's some snacks. Watch some cartoons. I'll be home after work. Got you, God. I want my snack pack, God. You're just a child of God. Let him take care of you. Let him take care of you. And that's just where it is. And it's like, no school today. We're getting schooled. It's the hard knock. It's life, bro. We're getting schooled. It's just we're not all in the same fucking school, bro. Neither are her kids. Fucking shit. So I got a minute before I got to run her a second load. Because here's another thing. What the fuck kind of school they go to? She said on Thursdays they don't have to be there till 9:50. Huh? I just came from Oklahoma. They don't even have school on Fridays. So I guess, whatever. Everybody makes up their own rules and shit. Like here, Martin Luther King Day is real. Down there, nah, you got to go to school. Like, it's just, you know, what? And then you got these Asians that are like just beyond fucking intelligent. Why? Because they spend 12 hours a day at school, bro. If I spent 12 hours a day putting information into my head, I'd be pretty smart too, bro. If I was listening. If I had the attention span for that type of shit. So that's just it. You ain't them. They ain't you. Just because you ain't learning what they're learning doesn't mean they're any fucking smarter than you. Doesn't mean that they have, you know, any better tools. Just because they have a degree in sociology doesn't mean they know how to... And that goes back to Russ's sister. I love you, Russ. Sorry. I'm not trying to hurt you guys. You're hurting yourselves. His mom has a degree in psychology, but, you know what I mean, psychologically damaged her children. Her daughter, who's walking her mother's steps, go figure, is going to school for psychology, but is currently, you know what I mean, in therapy. Russ grew up in the house of a psychologist and is beyond mind fucked. It's like, you know, just because they have a degree doesn't mean they know what they're doing with it. The degree to fuck with your mind is what she got. Fucking shit. In the sense of, I don't fault her. Her mind's all fucked up too. She goes by her thoughts too. She thought this is the best way to be a mother towards you. Same with mine. I don't know what the fuck was you thinking? Didn't you have a degree in thinking? Sorry. Anybody with degree in psychology, I'm like, don't you have a fucking degree in thinking? Like, that's what the whole thing is about. It's about thoughts and how the mind works. And meanwhile, you want to go talk to someone to get your thoughts out. Aren't you studying how to work through thoughts? And you can't even work through your own, but you want other people to tell you what they're thinking? And I'm confused. You guys are confusing me. Hey, I love you guys. It's going to be one of those days. Just one of those days. I mean, it is. We're full of, you know, teachings. I'm full of my shit. I'm on my shit. I'm going to go chill for a little bit. And then, I guess at some point we'll read some cards and we'll get on with more teachings. But that's it. Higher education. I'm seeing the Hierophant card right now. How many of you are pulling the Hierophant card? That's the teacher. In my book, it's the teacher. It's the elder. You become wise by experience, bro. You don't know what you don't know until you do something, and then you fucking learn real quick. You're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. You learn how to be better by what you know what I mean? Just the experience. It's like, you don't know that you're no good at basketball until you start playing basketball. You can keep playing There's Russ. I love you, bud. I love you, Russ. Don't make me let Kobe O take over my body and smash you on the court. If I can put Pac in my body to rap against Marshall, don't think that Kobe can't, you know, maybe not with my knees, to be honest. I gotta be honest. He might break my body. She's like, she's flying. It wasn't me, it was Kobe. I don't fly like that. I fly on a broom. No, in essence, it's like if you know you suck at something, you can either be a sucker Or you can learn how to develop this into something, you know, okay. Pac doesn't play basketball. He don't play basketball, but he did play football. He played street ball. And that's it. It's like, I'm not, you know, I'm not like everyone else. I'm not like every other black guy, but I can act. I can get my feelings. That's what he said in that interview. But I can act. I can show my feelings. I can be real. I can be vulnerable. I can't be strong and athletic and tall and all these things, but I could be me. I could be me. And that's really it is. I can't be you, but I could be me. And that's how God made me. I can't do what you do. Or maybe I could, and I could do it better than you. You don't want to know. I don't really care. And that's it. Don't try to keep up. We're not keeping up with the 7th and 8th graders. Fuck them. Them fucking snot-nosed fucking high school shooters. Those kids from the year they had this year, they're going to be the high school shooters next year. They learned how to shoot better. They learned how to hate more. They learned how... I mean, what did they learn in school? What do you learn in 7th and 8th grade? I don't know. We'll find out next year when we repeat the fucking class. That's it. If you didn't learn some shit last year, guess what? You're going to learn it again this year. Don't worry. God's got it. You're going to get all the experiences that you came to get. You're going to learn all the lessons you came to learn, and if you didn't learn them, you're going to learn them. Some of us are learning at different degrees. That's it. My kids learned full-on life skills in 1 year that these kids ain't going to learn until they're like 20, 30 years old. They still got to go back and learn the same shit that their 13 and 14-year-old bodies need to learn. But right now, they have the mentality of 20, 30, 40, 50. They're fucking earth angels. They have the fucking Christ consciousness in that sense, which is only going to make their learning process with all these school shooters easier. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. So, you know, taking an L doesn't mean you're losing anything. It just means you didn't win what you thought. You didn't accomplish what you set out to accomplish. It doesn't mean that you didn't have an experience and gain some wisdom. That's it. Whatever happened last year, that was last year. They got a whole new year ahead of us. Is it ready yet? They're still brewing it. Let them brew the shit. Right? Right. Don't try to make up for last year. Don't try to plan this year. Don't try to plan your future. God's got a future for you. And your future don't look like everyone else's. You don't want the same car as everyone else. You don't want the same problems as everyone else. You don't want the same lover. I don't want your leftovers. I don't want your man. I don't want someone that pumps and dumps. I did not sleep with him. This is good stuff. Sorry, I laugh at myself. You're like, damn, that was a fucked up I had an experience, bro. I learned a lesson. Again, I had to get hurt. I had to get rejected. I had to feel fucking humiliation. I had to feel shame. I didn't really feel any of that this time around. But I had to do it again so that I didn't feel that way about certain shit. It wasn't the best ride. There was some good, some bad, and some ugly. I had an experience, and now I learned, so I don't have to keep running back to that nigga and learning that same-ass lesson. I didn't want to learn that lesson with you. I didn't want to face you. I didn't want to feel this way. Well, fuck. I felt it. I dealt it. We fucking move on. And that's it. I'm off. And I'm off again to learn more lessons. It's like, are you being karmic? I guess. I got to learn another karmic lesson again. I got to learn my karma. Stand back. This is going to be ugly. At least I learned. You guys just stay in your karma. Going back to Lucifer. Lilith loved Lucifer. We were on the same thing. We hated mankind, and we hated their power, and we hated their lives, that God gave them such favor. The difference is I learned to have compassion. I learned to have understanding. I learned that they were suffering no more than how I was suffering, and if we continue to stay like this, we'll continue to suffer. I learned how to get myself out of hell, and I got all the others out, but Lucifer wouldn't leave hell because that's his place of power. If I don't feel fucked up, then I don't have no power. You have more power if you stop feeling so fucked up all the time. Why you gotta be all mad about life? Why you gotta be mad at God all the time, bro? Why are you mad at these people? They're suffering too. You know? And that's it. It's like, am I talking about him or, you know, God's entity of Lucifer? God's first, you know what I mean? That's what it is he gave us his powers and we didn't know how to harness them. And they fucking controlled us. And that's what's wrong with Adam and Eve. And that's what's wrong with society is you have all the power of God and you're using it in all the wrong ways. Same as Lilith, same as Lucifer, same as all the fallen. He made us his children and we rebelled against him with the own power he gave us. We turned against him and he put us on a timeout. And everybody else that acts like us, you're going into the you're going into the box of shame. You go sit there with your feelings about what you've done. And that's what hell is. We just sit there hating everyone for our lives and what we've done to them. God, you did this. No, the fuck I didn't. Stop acting like it. Stop blaming me and everybody else for your feelings. That's really what it is. Lucifer felt the power of being God, but he wanted to be God. He couldn't just be God. He had to be God. Am I talking about fucking rap God over there? Am I talking about fucking Lewis Hamilton? Am I talking about Russ? You guys just want to be God. You can't just be God. You can't just allow God to live inside of you. You have to rule over others as God. You know what I mean? Yeah? Yeah. No, not this time. You guys will be great. I love you guys. Have a good day. Let it go. Chop it up to an experience. Chop up the losses. Let stuff go. We're not where we wanted to be, where we thought we would be, but we are exactly where we need to be on our right track. And if you're about to face hard lessons again, then just know it. It's like, oh, you know, when you get pulled over and they were about to run your plate. You knew you had a warrant, bitch. How long did God let you get away with this? Like, he took my car. I knew he was going to. I kept telling everyone, I'm going to get caught down here. I'm going to get caught. I rolled around with bad plates and no insurance for over 1.5 years and never got caught. He never took my car, nothing. And then I got caught. And I sat there and I was grateful that I didn't go to jail, bro. The cop asked me, he's like, you're not going to put a curse on me, are you? I said, no. And when I came back, all I did was thank God for this experience. Thank you for not making it worse. Thank you for teaching me my lesson. I should have never been doing that. I could have got caught before this. I could have lost my car. This could have happened anywhere with my dog, with all of my stuff. We would have lost everything. Just me thinking I could get away with this for so long. Yeah, he let me get away with it until he didn't. And he told me when I was going to get caught. He took my fucking car. And I believed he was going to give it back, and then all of a sudden he gave me all the money to give it back too. He'll take things away. He'll take your shit away. But then he'll give it back. Or he might not, and give you something better. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm over here in a different car. And he told me that. I'll get you a new car. Alright, I believe you, God. I gotta work hard for this shit, but I got a car. Brand new car. It's got 70,000 miles on it. Brand new fucking ass car. 4-wheel drive. All the works and shit. You know what I mean? He did what he said he was going to do, just not the way I saw he was going to do it. And that's it. It's like, you know, just go with it. Okay? I love you guys. And that's just my life. I don't know what he's doing in yours, but I'm trying to tell you, just let him do it. He's got a plan. It's not your plan. And it's not it's not everybody else's plan. And nobody plans to have. That's what I said. I didn't plan this. Nobody would plan to have this kind of shitty life. I just go with it. And it's not a shitty life. It's a life he's given me and many others. I make the best out of it. You know? So, hey, I love you guys. Lots of love and light, bitches. Love and light. Laters, haters.